Public hearing on the comprehensive plan. Because,
Crystal? Yep.
So you opened up the public hearing, all right, and so this will be part of the presentation for the public hearing. My name is Crystal Welsh, I'm with Abbott Marsh Consultants, and we've been working with town representatives and the steering committee to put together a comprehensive plan. And so we're not gonna go through every page, but I do kind of want to highlight some items for you. So we're going to go through the introduction, the community profile, the land use plan, and then the implementation strategy. And so the introduction starts at the beginning, go figure, and this really outlines the process and provides a summary of the public engagement process. And so that really starts about page 5. Page 7 kind of outlines our timeline that we went through. And then page 8 provides a summary of the engagement exercises that we went through during the process, including some summary information on the community character survey that we did at the beginning of the process, as well as the open house and the workshop that we held, and some information, some graphics on the feedback we got during our open house. And then we get into the community profile, which provides some updated demographic information and some additional survey results. So that goes into natural features, the population and housing characteristics, employment. Kind of gets through there to about page 21. And the reason we do a community profile really is to provide some basic information to your steering committee and the public about who lives here, who's interested in what's going on, so that when you start creating your goals and objectives, you kind of have some background information on who you're serving in the public. So that's why that's an important part. Some things we thought were important as we were working on our goals and objectives were, we asked the question, why do you live here? So why do people choose to live in Fremont? You can live just about anywhere these days with remote work and things like that. So why do they choose to live in Fremont? And 64% of the folks said they like the small town character. And so when we think about the goals, objectives, and implementation strategy that we put together in this plan, that was top of mind. They think it's a safe community. So we want to make sure that we're promoting safe activities. Near quality schools, another great thing. Great place to raise a family. And in my job is in Fremont. So those are the kind of things as you start developing why people live here is important about what things you want to do in the future. So 155 people responded, which I thought was a really good percentage of your population that responded to the survey. 90 people actually gave us their communication information. They gave us their email and said, we want to know as you're going through this process what's going on. And so when we had public engagement exercises or events, we sent emails to those people so that they knew it was happening. 89% of the people who responded were Fremont residents. That's another really good indicator. Not that we don't care about the other people, but we know the vast majority of the folks responding. And other people who may have taken the survey are people who work here or that have kids in the school system if they somehow got involved in that. 77% shop or visit Fremont, 71 attend events, and 69% visit the parks. Again, just who is answering these things. And some other important parts we thought were what people thought were positive changes. What are the things they want to continue to see happening? And infrastructure and park upgrades were one, new small businesses and more vibrant and walkable communities. These are things people said that they thought had been positive changes. And some concerns. We also have to think about, what potentially negative things we should think about. Type and pace of housing development. There was some real concerns about availability and affordability of housing. Gaps in essential services. affordable housing being one, childcare, maintenance of public spaces. And they're concerned about losing small town charm with overgrowth. So you'll see some of our recommendations are promoting growth, but at a reasonable pace. Something, we're not expecting to double our population in the next 10 years. We're reasonable paced growth so that you don't lose the things that people love about Fremont. And again, growth is welcomed if it preserves the small town feel. It's strategic and not rushed. It includes investment in infrastructure and services, and it respects and preserves natural assets and farmland. Those are the conditions that we want to ensure when we have growth occurring. We want growth, but we want it at our pace and in our way. And so we talk about the land use plan, and we go through each of the land uses that are in your future land use map. So those are all the land classifications. The beginning of this is because starting on page 23 through 27, you'll see there's a whole bunch of things to do. And we put that first just in case someone didn't want to read the whole document. You got the summary there. These are all the recommendations, and there's a lot. Don't get it. I understand there's a lot here, but we also, in the implementation strategy, will see how we've tried to include as many people as possible in getting these things done. So we do an overview of the current land use. Why that's important is because it's important to recognize how you currently are developed. You have quite a bit of agricultural land still within the town. Is that what you want to see moving forward? And so this is a snapshot from your county tax records that says this is how these properties are being taxed. So that's how they're listed there. So some agricultural land may be taxed as agricultural, but there may be a house on it. So it doesn't preclude, specifically in agriculture, that there might not be a house on that site as well. Page 30 is the proposed future land use map. This is how we think things should develop moving forward. And again, because you have an extraterritorial jurisdiction, that's the dashed red line around, but the heavy red line is in the town itself. And many of our recommendations are directly related to promoting development within the town limits. That's our primary focus. I will also mention we did get a request from the attorney today that we add the statement to page 30, which will have to be part of your recommendation to council. That page 30 is amended to include the statement that says, in the judgment of the Plan Commission, the development of the ETJ, or the extraterritorial jurisdiction, bears reasonable relation to the development of the town. So he'd like that put at the bottom of page 30, just to kind of clarify why you care about the ETJ. The county has, the town has adopted that extraterritorial jurisdiction, and obviously you have planning regulation over that area. So we just wanted to make that clear in this plan, and so we will add that and get a new version put up on the website. We've got a couple options for this. We can either create little stickers that you can just plop right on there on your copies, or I can print new page 30s for you, whichever way you prefer. And then we go through each. We have government and institutions. We have a thoroughfare plan. Then parks and recreation. So we're just kind of going through. In case you weren't involved in the process, we also updated the parks master plan as well. And that will go to the council for approval, but the planning commission doesn't really have a role. So we did a bit of a summary to make sure that it's clear in the comprehensive plan that you have a parks master plan, and we've identified it there. Conservation land uses, agricultural land uses, and again, this is mainly in the ETJ. Residential land uses, again, housing was an issue that came up regularly during our public engagement. Mixed residential and commercial uses, that's kind of surrounding your downtown. The downtown land use, commercial land use, and then industrial land use rounds out the land uses. And so the overview map is on page 30. And then each page kind of explains what kinds of uses are reasonable for that land use. And then page 54 and 55 really talk a little bit about how the future land use map in your comprehensive plan relates to your zoning ordinance, which is your regulatory arm. So how those two kind of merge. In the state of Indiana, you have to have a comprehensive plan before you can have zoning. So we wanted to make sure that it was clear that these two documents relate to each other. One is goals and policies, the other is regulation. So that page just kind of makes it clear which land uses and which zoning districts kind of coincide to make that adjustment clearer, we hope. There's the future land use map. And again, the dashed red line is your existing ETJ, the heavy red line is the town. And there's that future land use map and corresponding zoning districts. And then our implementation strategy. So there was a lot of stuff in those first couple pages. And so what we've tried to do is break it down to help a little bit with actually completing some of these things. And the way we've done that is kind of by type. So we've got some administrative and management, we've got research, we have budget development, facilities, public outreach, marketing, and community building. And so each one of these actions kind of fits under one of those general categories. And then we've talked about things that are just kind of ongoing. Things that M1 through 12 are things that we think can get done in the first year. And those are along this side here. And then year 1 through 5. And those are to kind of give you an idea of what makes sense timing. Some things have to happen first before other things can happen. And then also, who's the lead? Whose main responsibility is this? But we all know that the town can't do this alone. They're gonna have to look for support. And so that's the supporting role category. To identify partners and people who might A, be needed or be willing to help so that you can complete the actions listed in the plan. And we think that's very important. Now, in most cases, it's still on the town. You're gonna be the lead role because that's just your role in the way things work in planning. But we also made an effort, and the steering committee was very helpful in this, in identifying some other folks that might be helpful. And then there's a big appendix that I didn't bring copies of, but it's on the website. And those are things like the full survey results and workshop sign-in sheets, kind of all the background information that went into this report. And then the next steps, we just wanted to highlight that tonight's meeting, you will be making a recommendation to the Common Council for approval. And then December 11th, we hope that the council would then adopt both the comprehensive plan and the Parks Master Plan at their meeting.
I think the meeting is the 16th.
Oh,
For the council, I think that's the plan, the park board meeting on the 11th.
Okay. Well, I will update that and then put in my calendar the right day. I will be here on the 11th. So if you had any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Well, we appreciate all the work that, because it has been a long process to do, and you've done a great job, so.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
One of the things we talked about was the condition of the buildings in town. Where is that addressed?
So,
The downtown area.
yeah, so one thing I will mention, we also included a historic structure list in your appendix.
Okay.
So that was provided by the historic district, which was very nice. But at least then it's an appendix to this, and so they're identified and hopefully available for public review. So there is, you're gonna ask me to find that. So there is.
I wasn't sure what category it fell into.
Well, I think it falls in a couple of categories, and I know one of the goals was admin number 1, page 53, utilize existing ordinances to enforce compliance while working with partners and experts to identify resources to assist property owners in improving the safety and appearance of dilapidated buildings throughout the town, especially along primary corridors and downtown. Very first one. And then there's some references later on about allowing multiple uses as a technique to try to preserve buildings, maybe allowing mixed use in those buildings, allowing residential, allowing commercial spaces as incentives to preserve those historic buildings. So opening up and allowing for a variety of uses also helps because it's more economically viable and for the property owner. And then I know there's also some ideas about working with the Economic Development Corporation to identify incentives that might be available, as well as for either tax abatements or specifically looking at folks like the Landmarks Association. Those grants are very difficult to get, but they're another resource.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody in the crowd, what's their opinion?
Thank you.
Anybody here? Is that it?
Then you could go ahead and close the public hearing and open.
Okay, I guess we're gonna close the public hearing.
Then you'll open the regular meeting, or special meeting.
Okay, open the meeting, approve the minutes. Everybody,
So moved.
Second.
second, the minutes have been approved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, against, minutes pass.
Okay, then the resolution that you will be looking at will be Resolution 2025-12-2 of the Fremont Planning Commission.
Righty,
This is a resolution recommending the adoption of a new comprehensive plan for the town of Fremont, Indiana.
okay, well, whatever all that stuff was. I guess anybody wants to make a motion?
I would make a motion to forward this with a favorable recommendation to the town
Yes.
council. Second.
Approved and seconded, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Pass.
Kathy, what did you say the number was?
2025-12-2 of the Fremont Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Okay, now we've got the zoning.
All right, so we will start with the sign for Cameron Memorial Hospital. You should have a picture of what the sign is to look like. And then your GIS picture where the X is where they're wanting to put it with the approximate measurements of 10 foot off of each of those property lines in the corner. They were so kind to go to the actual property. If you took a chance to drive down there, they did mark it in the grass with
Well, I've seen
some,
that.
yeah. So that's where they're wanting to put the sign. And the reason they're here is because the size of the sign requires them to be 50 feet back. That's the setback for that size of a sign. And obviously they're not going to meet that. So they're here, Owen is here. You can ask him questions. It is not a permanent like concrete structure. There are just posts that go in the ground, and this is a hard plastic.
Yeah, it's a hardened foam sign similar to some that you might have seen in additions or neighborhoods.
slides over those posts, and it is not an illuminated sign. There's no illumination. So he's here. If you have questions or whatever for him, or if you want to allow them to put it where it is at, that is why he is here and you are being presented with this.
So it's actually on the back side of the medical facility
Yeah,
building?
Correct,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, the dollar store's over here.
Did the neighbor across the street get notified that they were gonna put a sign in, so they're not?
To my knowledge, the neighbor has not been notified.
Well, it hasn't really been approved yet that the sign is going there, but I don't know that that is a notification that would have to be done. That would be to your
Well, it
recommendation.
would be Dollar General that's across the street.
Yeah.
And it's not illuminated, so.
I say it's not good, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't
Is
see
that-
any issues with it.
Does it block that vision coming off of this road?
I drove to the stop sign and sat there to look. And
Okay.
if your car is at the stop sign, you'll be able to see to go. It's not, doesn't
Okay,
inhibit the line of sight as far as you making a safe turn or not.
okay.
The only concern obviously is because there has been nothing there that when you're pulling up, now there's going to be this big sign in your way. Once you stop, there'll just be something to get used to, but it does not block the
It
line
doesn't
of,
block the
I
vision.
don't feel like it blocks the line of sight to make a safe turn at that stop sign, so.
That would be my question,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
And this land all belongs to the medical? Okay, purpose and check that.
I don't see a problem. Yeah, if it's not a safety, I don't see a problem with it either.
Go ahead.
Okay, somebody,
I will second that, go forward.
it's been, motion made to go with it and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Okay, and then the next item is the property out on Feather Valley Road. They were here earlier asking about getting some plots off of there to put some storage units or barns, storage, I don't know what you want to call them. Anyhow, Tammy, sorry.
Jamie.
Jamie, thank you, is
Oh,
here.
did you print them? I'm sorry, I printed them too.
I didn't, they were dropped off to me. This was dropped off after the last meeting. They just weren't done before the meeting, so I didn't have them.
This is a new one I made for today.
Oh, there's a different one.
It's different.
Well, it's updated with the correct date because that's just weirdo,
That's okay.
and I like it.
There you go.
So these are updated with it. My husband totally lost track of time and had something pop up and didn't make it to the October meeting. And then of course he flew out to Pennsylvania this morning for work, so here I am. We were here in September wanting to take our land over on Feather Valley and move it into like 5 or 6 lots, and you guys had said that we could do that, but it would only go down to 4. That was a maximum that we could take one lot down to 4, but you wanted us to get a plat done and a survey. And so we hired someone and had that done, and so those are in there. And I maybe gave too much detail on the front page, but I like a lot of detail myself, so. As you can see, the front lot will be a little bigger, so really what we're doing is we're taking that one lot and doing it into 4, like you guys had said was allowable. And so those 3 new lots will have the same size structure on them, but because of easement and different things like that, that one plot is just a little bit bigger than the other 2.
So this is the main access road to get to it?
No, ma'am. Feather Valley.
So they would come off of here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep.
And there will be another road in here?
Yeah, we're gonna move this over. So it's just a gravel, like,
Okay,
And so we're gonna move it down, so,
Okay.
because this is the barn that we use now, and where our boats and everything are. And my husband's just mowed this property for 12 years, I think he enjoys it, he likes to get on the zero turn. But our friends were like, please, like, you don't understand, like, kinda like the housing shortage, people are all moving here, but they have nowhere to put their stuff. So, yeah, so you can kinda see behind there how
Oh, I
that's-
do.
Yeah,
I see it.
it'll be moved right here, so
Okay.
everybody can access.
And there's no septic or anything
No,
there.
ma'am, no.
What did you ask, Kathy? Septic, so there were no bathrooms or anything, or there's supposed to be a bathroom for that.
No, and like we kind of told you guys when we came the first time, which you probably don't remember because you see lots of people. Because we kind of discussed many different ideas with you guys. And we were talking about how like down the road, of course, the remainder of our land, my husband had thought about building a couple of duplexes for like senior living. Of course, we don't have the funds to do that now, and, but it's, I mean, just like she said, I mean, we hear that over in Annual all the time too. So we'd like, that's why we kind of broke it that way, so that we have that possibility in the future, or someone else has that possibility in the future. Because it is a nice road. And there's all agricultural around that property, so I don't know that anybody will ever actually build around us on the other side.
So, anybody got any opinions?
No, they did what we asked them to do,
No?
and I see no reason why it won't work.
I'm in favor of it.
I move that this be approved, this plan be approved.
I'd second it.
There was motion made. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
So here comes the ridiculous question, what do I need to do next?
You will need to reach out to the county and, you know.
Sue it, so county commission?
Yes.
Okay.
And they'll probably guide you from there on how to record it, you know, on there.
I'll text Will when I leave and be like, okay, you're gonna guide me, I don't know what to do with this.
And they may need something from us, you know,
Okay.
a letter, and,
Okay.
which Becky can.
Or
So
if they
we'll-
want the official minutes, then they wouldn't be ready till the next council meeting once they've been
Okay.
signed, or the next plan commission meeting, yeah.
Well, I'll get a hold of them, and, we always have to go to those meetings on council on aging. So maybe I can, represent myself and that one and get them both knocked out.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, is there any other business?
That is all that I have.
Just one thing, well, just a couple little housekeeping. We do have a position that will be available at the end of December, so, and it is since this is a politically sensitive, board, it does have to be filled by a Democrat, so if you know anybody out there, and they might be interested, have them reach out to us at the town hall, and then we can get those names to the council.
Kathy, what is the parameters for the location?
They have to live in town.
In town
In
or?
town, no, yeah, in town,
Okay,
not the outside.
This-
So,
this-
yes, our two,
outsiders are here.
yep, yep, so this is an
Turn
in-town.
outside. Outside the city. Outside the city.
And then, did everybody get the meeting schedule I sent out, so everybody knows, you know, we're making those changes, so, for every other month. And then, obviously, if Becky doesn't have anything, then she'll, you know, we'll send notice to cancel it, because it's easier to cancel than to put one together, so. I think those were the only two housekeeping things that we have. That's all I have.
So, January's gonna be our regular meeting.
January, yes, we'll have a regular meeting in January, 6th. Yep, January 6th.
Okay, I guess
Make a motion.
Motion.
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, but
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You need the minutes.